This is going to be a commentary video with some speculation on my part. Some of it halfway educated, I guess we'll say. Focusing on Lamar Jackson returning to the Ravens facility in Owens Mills, the Ravens practice facility for this week's OTAs. Personally, I never thought it was a big issue in recent weeks that he wasn't there, just because I have some awareness of what can be done, what is done to keep players informed and keep players ready so they can hit the ground running or throwing in this case, which I think is what most of us are focused on. Tablets, software programs, websites with logins such as Huddle, but nobody in the NFL uses Huddle. But point being, everyone from youth sports on up utilizes technology to keep people informed, keep people prepared. I will give you an example from my own experience. Coaching youth football one year, we had a huge amount of rain from Tuesday to Friday. And we were able to play our Saturday game. The only practice that we had that week was on Monday. This is 10 and 11-year-old kids. Had a 10-year-old kid who introduced a blitz, an automatic blitz, when we saw a particular formation. A very bright kid, very smart. We see this formation. This is the stunt we're going to run. Well, keep in mind we didn't practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, obviously. Showed up to the game on Saturday. I didn't even mention this automatic formation. However, we had reviewed it in a little video I recorded for the kids, and this kid, whose name was Jaden, the first time he saw it, ran his auto blitz, hit the quarterback, ball pops up in the air, another player picks it off, takes it to the house. We win the game like 42-7. Point being, technology can be used to keep people updated when you're unable to practice because of weather, when you're unable to practice because of other reasons, illnesses or whatever. In this case, it was Lamar not being at the facility for, I guess, a week and a half of OTAs, football school, whatever. Me personally, I'm focused on what Todd Monken and the offensive coaches are going to do to improve the offense, the passing game specifically, because really we just want a balanced offense as Ravens fans. We want a balanced offense, run, pass. And for various reasons, we didn't have one consistently in the last 2 or 3 years. So, for me, I believe that it's very easy for NFL college players to stay updated, prepared, even if they're not out on the field or at team meetings for OTAs, football school, whatever the heck you want to call it. Lamar being there for this week, Wednesday and Thursday. I guess there's another one next week, May 30th, and then again, I think next Thursday and Friday, June 1st and 2nd, if I got my dates right. Is it a good thing that Lamar is there? I mean, clearly, come on. He gets to, work with Todd Monken and the offensive coaches, T. Martin, the new quarterback's coach. So clearly it's a good thing. He gets to throw to the receivers, gets to get acclimated with the terminology, but he's already been exposed to that on the, whether it's iPad, whatever technology they're using, whatever company they're using stuff from, Lamar has it. He's done his homework just like every other player who's showing up for the first time for Wednesday's workout. Was it necessary for him and those other guys to be there last week or the week before in order for games to be won in September and October? No, it just was not. That's ridiculous. I never offered comment on it, and I feel even hypocritical offering comment now because it just didn't seem worth much attention. But there was a lot of people who thought it was. There was a lot of people who had comments on it. I'm just glad we're through that time period where so many people was debating, should Lamar be there or not? Does it matter or not? If it does matter, to what degree? I don't know. And at this point, I care even less than I did a week ago during that frenzy of activity and discussion when Lamar wasn't working out with the Ravens, but he was, getting work done with Nelson Aguilar and others. I did offer comment in our Discord when the topic first came up, and I tried to avoid commenting on it too much. Lamar's Lamar's schedule is probably made pretty far in advance in the off season. And since he didn't even sign his, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, he didn't sign his contract until right before the draft, or I guess the day of the draft, right? April 27th, the day of the first round of the NFL draft. Then the initial off-season workout, which I think became known as football school in Owens Mills, started less than 2 weeks later, I think 13 days later. And in my experience, from the people that I know of or have had some dealings with, professional athlete schedules is made at least a month out or in advance in the off season. And as a teacher or former teacher at this point, I can tell you this: teachers' schedules in when school's out during the summer, their schedules are made 6, 8 weeks in advance. Now, some people live it up differently. They go to the beach, and they're just day by day. I'll do whatever I want for a couple of months because I don't feel like being involved with the schedule. Professional athletes is different. They got to get their work in. Number one, they got to make appearances. They can make money by appearances and raising money for things that matter to them, things that align with their belief system. They can do that in the off season, whereas they don't have time in the season. My point is, as it relates to Lamar, it never bothered me at all that he wasn't there because I looked at the timeline. He signed on April 27th, I believe, and then the first workout I think was May 10th, somewhere around in there. It never, as a coach, of course you want your best players there and your quarterback, of course. But it never bothered me because I truly believe that his schedule was made far enough out that he already had things to do on May 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, and he didn't sign until the 27th. Why would he show up? Why would anyone show up unsigned for OTAs, when they didn't have a contract signed? Of course he wouldn't. So anyway, that's the end of my comment there. It never bothered me. I'm glad that we get to see and hear about Lamar being on the field Wednesday, and really both sides, the people that said, oh, he should be there, he's not being a leader, or the other side of the coin, people who said it doesn't matter at all, he's still the starting quarterback, etc. Both sides got on my nerves at times. I actually muted a lot of people on Twitter that I think I'm going to unmute now. I never felt the need to defend him or decry him because I recognize that the schedule for early and mid-May was probably finalized by Lamar and his people in like mid-March or late March. He might have had other commitments and plans, So anyway, what draws my attention more for Wednesday's practice, workout, OTA, whatever it's called, is one of my favorite parts of the season. I'll have a couple of anecdotal stories here for you guys. And if I didn't say this earlier, obviously it's going to be no filming. This is just commentary. I'm not sure what to do as far as pictures when I'm just doing a commentary video. Some people have said it ends up being podcast style. So if you like it, please let me know. If you think there's some improvements that could be made for it, by all means, let me know in the comment section. But I love the first workout, the first practice of the season. As a coach, I'm far removed from it at this point. With my experience being high school and youth football, having never been anywhere near the level of football that I'm trying to offer commentary and analysis of. So, take that as you want to. But the first drill of practice, first drill of the first practice, the first interaction where you as a coordinator take charge, take command, and set the tone. I'm intrigued by what I'm hearing about Todd Monken and how he runs practice and is installing the offense, even in the football school or the OTAs, I think on the 17th. I have no doubt that the opening drill or sequence of drills will be ones that sets the quarterback and the offense up for success. That's what we always went for. And that Lamar and any other player who hasn't been there until Wednesday is prepared. I don't get the sense that Monken wants to undercut anyone with a drill or a situation that they're not prepared for. And I'll have a story about that in a minute that, you can believe if you wish or not believe if you don't want to. That's entirely up to you. But I get the impression from reading online, watching film of his offense at Georgia, and I do listen to 105.7 The Fan some, and one of the hosts on there apparently goes to the OTAs, goes to the practices, and he's been describing Monken's demeanor and his teaching style, that he's involved in everything, that there's just no question it's his offense, and he's coaching every position and telling guys what to do, pre-teaching things before a play is run to one group while the second group or a different group is running a play. I have no doubt if someone is as prepared as it sounds like Monken is, that he's going to have everybody ready to go from drill number one. A couple comparison stories maybe to use as an example. One of them I have firsthand knowledge of, and another one I was told by a member of the media. Not Baltimore media, not anyone currently in the area, but DC area media. During the time that I think RG3 was coming back for, I believe, his second year in the league. So I'll just briefly go over the parts of the story that I was told and how it was interpreted by people who were there. Was that the first drill of the first practice, mandatory, that RG3 participated in? It may not have been the first drill of the season. was one that RG3 didn't do much with prior to that. Didn't have much experience with. It was under center, 3-step drop drill, and RG3 wasn't prepared for it, and you could kind of tell. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the Gruden brothers as coaches. I'm not, but I don't know those guys well enough to offer comment on their personality or their character. But the person who detailed the story to me said it was quite obvious that he wanted a different quarterback than RG3. I'm talking about Jay Gruden. I think he was the head coach and ran the offense for what was at the time the Washington Redskins. And of course, RG3 ended up losing the job that year as a starting quarterback. A situation where I believe someone maybe intentionally, if you believe the story like I do from the media person who was there on the field, claimed that it appeared pretty obvious that RG3 was not set up for success there, and they were trying to set the stage to create a situation where there was competition, where there's any number of dozen or 100 drills that you could do that RG3 would have more familiarity with, being someone who was in the shotgun his entire high school and college career. Take that, however you wish. I wasn't there, but was told it by someone who was there and covered that team on a daily basis at that time. All right, my own experience with first drills or installing drills, getting teams and players ready for success is like, one way that we would do it is 30 minutes before practice, the expectation was set that we would go over a new drill. So, on the whiteboard in the field house, I would go over it. Now, you weren't told that you had to be there. No one told you had to be there. But eventually, after the third day in a row of us explaining a new drill, or maybe re-explaining a drill from the day before, remember we're talking about high school kids and in some cases youth football, kid messes up the drill a couple days in a row, he or she, depending on what the sport is, has a choice to make. Am I going to show up and get the explanation, the additional explanation, the pre-practice explanation, so I can be prepared? These guys at the NFL level don't have to do that. It's already been done. It's on the tablet. It's online. It's however these guys are receiving the information. I'm sure the app is on their phone as well. They're able to access the information, be prepared. I have no doubt that those guys are going to hit the ground running. Hey, we'll get stories on Twitter, I guess, tomorrow, Wednesday. Lamar's a professional. Todd Monken's a professional. OBJ, Rashad, all the guys that are, quote, new to being there this week, they'll be on the same page early if you ask me. I'm just talking about offense. The other guys there for the first time, man, I'm sure they've got to be excited that Monken's there, Lamar is there. They can get rolling. I don't know about you, but I look forward to being on Twitter and seeing some of the feedback or comments from the media that are there. And like I said, I do listen to 105.7. I can't remember who it is that goes to practice. It might be Vinny Serrato, I think, but I may have the name wrong. For the football feedback, because he goes to practice, whoever this person is, goes to practice and then gives feedback about what he saw. I don't listen to the bozo on 105.7 that's a Ravens front office hater. I don't listen to him. He wouldn't know a 3 technique from a 3-piece meal at KFC. And to me, I'm looking forward to like discussion of what's installed, how Lamar looked, how the receivers looked, how the timing worked, what kind of routes are being thrown, how Monken coached Lamar. I do hope that he's demanding, extremely demanding, of Lamar and everyone to be real. I hope he is Lamar's Phil Jackson and not Doug Collins. And if you're old enough to understand that reference, I'm not talking about Doug Collins coaching MJ with the Wizards. I'm talking about Doug Collins coaching MJ in Chicago and kind of not being as tough and overbearing and demanding as Phil Jackson was when he showed up and installed the triangle offense with high expectation levels for defense. I hope that Todd Monken becomes Lamar Jackson's Phil Jackson, if that makes sense. Anything more for me will be interesting to hear, from any member of the media or people online. I'm sure that you're excited just like I am. I'm expecting a lot of work on pass timing concepts and simulating the read. Meaning on this rep, talking to all the quarterbacks, you're going to get, 2 read on this side and you're going to get this over there. And so the quarterback's got to read something, but they know the coverage, so the read is removed. And so this is just working on the steps, looking where you're supposed to make the read, which again is simulated and predetermined, and then making the throw. Essentially dividing up the job work between looking at what you're supposed to look at for the read, actually making the read, determining who to throw the ball to, and then throwing the ball to the correct player. You can separate those two things to help players succeed early on, not just Lamar Jackson, but any quarterback, to give them confidence, give the receivers confidence, and get as much work in. This doesn't make sense to allow defenses who have, in my opinion, a huge advantage early, especially when you're installing a new offense. Defenses have a huge advantage early because, let's be honest, most of the defensive systems are pretty similar in terms of alignment, reads, coverages, how they respond to routes and stuff. So, in my opinion, offensively, the Ravens sound like they've been doing a pretty nice job so far. Again, listening to what's said on Vono 57 by the guy who's actually there. The opposite of this, predetermining the read, telling them what the throw is going to be, just expecting great steps, great stance, great eyes. And the throw, the opposite of that, or the other side of that coin, is practicing the read on film, in meetings, in a film room, pre-snap, showing them the coverage, which I've been a part of doing that before. Basically, this is the coverage you're going to get, showing them the coverage defensively, and then relining the defense back up, letting the offense run it, a way to create success early on, and then a way to show a different look to a quarterback in the middle of the play that you didn't prepare him for and see how he responds. Again, I'm speculating on some level, but I also think that generally what can get done in an OTA like we're going to see this week, there's not supposed to be full contact or team situations, is just pass Kelly for real. Lining up defensively, getting aligned in your formations offensively, pass Skelly, maybe some run drills with the quarterback to create good timing on handoffs and any read plays, zone read, pistol read option, etc. And, to practice those handoffs and those steps to clear your hips and get out of the way of the running back. You guys let me know what you think the Ravens can get accomplished in this situation. If you're as excited as I am, I think it's a great opportunity for them I think the next 2 days, the 24th and the 25th, to get the offense installed with a lot of high-level guys there, a lot of presumed starters there. And then next week, I think there's 3 opportunities, May 3rd, June 1st, and June 2nd. It sounds like they skip next Wednesday, May 31st, for whatever reason. I've never been able to see any of these. I would love to get an opportunity to go see some of the drills they do, see the way practice is structured. I have no reason to doubt what I've heard on 105.7, which is that Monken is in charge and in control. Having said that, I think he's smart enough to understand that at some point, Lamar has to take over some of that authority. He has to take over some of that direction, moving people to the spot, moving people quicker in and out of the huddle or from the sideline onto the field to run the first play of a series. Anyway, I'm looking forward to hearing feedback from anyone who's at the practice or media members, I guess I should say, is the only ones who are allowed access during practice. Let me know if you're as excited as I am and if you had as much disappointment and boredom in your head as I did hearing people discuss and argue whether Lamar Jackson, OBJ, whoever, should be at every single offseason workout when that's just not the case across the NFL for any franchise, if you ask me. Appreciate you guys' time. If you think other Ravens fans might enjoy this commentary, please consider grabbing the link and sharing it out on social media to help this video get more reach.